In the heart of Odugbo, a village wrapped in the arms of ancestral spirits and forgotten secrets, lived a young woman whose hunger for riches led her to a stranger no one remembered inviting. But not all gold is a blessing, and some midnight regrets never fade. This is the story of Nanya, the woman who married for wealth, and opened her door to the unknown. In the sun-baked village of Odugbo, red dust danced across the earth like wandering spirits, and the whispers of the baobab trees carried stories of the past. The people there were simple, proud, and deeply rooted in tradition. Yet, change has a way of creeping in like a shadow, especially when it promises fortune. Nanya, the only daughter of Mama Eid, was known for her beauty. Cocoa-dark skin that gleamed in the sun, wide amber eyes that seemed to drink in the world, and a voice that could calm a crying child. But what defined her most wasn't her beauty. It was her ambition. Unlike the other girls who dreamt of marrying palm wine tappers or goat herders, Nanya wanted more. "I did not come to this world to eat from clay pots," she often said. "I was born to drink from gold." Mama Eid, a widow with a tired back and tired prayers, tried her best to raise her daughter right. She warned her about pride, about shortcuts. But Nanya was determined. Every market day, she would sit by the riverbank with her friends and dream out loud of silk dresses, jeweled anklets, and the sweet aroma of jollof rice served on glass plates. Then one day he came. It was during the Aya festival, when the moon hung low and drums echoed through the bush. The village square pulsed with firelight, laughter, and chants. And as the people danced, a horse-drawn cart pulled into the clearing. He stepped down, a man draped in flowing white, with skin the color of dark honey and a smile that shimmered like melted gold. "I am Chibik," he said, his voice like distant thunder and silk. "I come seeking a wife." Eyes widened. Women blushed. Elders whispered. He wasn't from Odugbo. Not from the next village. Not even from the river towns to the south. No one knew him. Yet he came bearing gifts. Gold bangles, bottles of foreign wine, embroidered wrappers, and strange coins no one could identify. The village council, led by Chief Ogudu, questioned him gently. But Chibik offered no tales of origin. Only a deep stare and a deeper pouch of wealth. "Where there is gold, there is a god," one elder murmured. And so, caution folded into curiosity. 3 days later, Chibik declared his choice. "Nanya!" Gasps fluttered like startled birds. Mama Eid fell silent. Nanya, meanwhile, stood tall, her chest rising with pride. She didn't ask how he knew her name. She didn't care. This was what she had prayed for, a golden future. "She is not ready," Mama Eid protested. But Chibik smiled that dazzling, unreadable smile. "Wealth brings readiness." The dowry was unheard of. Bags of rice, 2 cows, a chest of coins, and a blood-red wrapper from Benin. Against her mother's wishes, against the old ways, Nanya agreed. They were married beneath the full moon, under the sacred Irako tree. The villagers celebrated with wild abandon. But one person, old Aya, the blind herbalist woman who lived at the edge of the forest, sat alone by the fire and whispered to the wind. "When the moon weds the mist, the child of shadow comes to feast." No one listened. Derelict house, the house of silence. Chibik did not live in the village. Instead, he took Nanya to a compound hidden deep within the thick bush, where no rooster crowed and no lanterns lit the night. The house was vast and strange. The walls were smooth but cold. The floors did not creak. No servants. No neighbors. Just Chibik and silence. But there was wealth. Fine clothes in every corner. Mirrors that reflected dreams. Bed softer than clouds. And gold everywhere. At first, Nanya was overwhelmed with joy. She sent messages back home boasting of her new life. But as days passed, things turned odd. Chibik gave her 3 rules on their wedding night. Never open the 3rd door at the end of the hallway. Never ask where he goes at night. And never, under any circumstance, light a candle after midnight. "Why?" she asked, half laughing. Chibik leaned in, his golden smile now tight. "Because some truths have teeth." Then he kissed her forehead and whispered, "Obedience brings peace." Nanya tried to follow the rules. But strange things began happening. At night, the air would hum, low and rhythmic, like the distant cries of something hungry. Some mornings, her mirror would show her sleeping, though she had already woken. Other times, she'd find muddy footprints leading from the third door to the bed. One night, she woke to find Chabik gone, yet his side of the bed was warm. When she asked where he had been, he said only, "Dreaming outside." His voice had changed, deeper, less human. She began to feel trapped. The compound gates were always locked. No birds flew above the roof. No rain ever touched the walls. And still the gold flowed. Dresses, perfumes, jewels. Everything she had dreamed of. Yet her heart felt hollow. It happened on the 7th night. Storm howled outside. The compound trembled. Nanya lay wide-eyed, the air thick with dread. And then a sound, a scratch behind the third door, came again, and again, like nails on wood. She stared at the candle beside her bed. Midnight. She lit it. The flame flickered, then screamed. Not crackled, screamed. Shaking, she took the candle and walked down the hallway. The third door loomed, ancient, carved with symbols she didn't recognize. The scratching had stopped, but something inside her whispered, "Open it." She did. Inside there was a mirror. But not just any mirror, this one moved. The reflection showed her standing, but with no eyes, no mouth, a golden band around her throat. Then, something stepped into the frame behind her. Beat. But his skin was peeling. His smile was melting. His eyes, empty sockets dripping black. And he said, "Now you've seen me true." The candle dropped. The light went out. And behind her the door slammed shut. Nanya awoke on the cold hallway floor. The candle was gone. The door open. The mirror, now lifeless, reflected only shadows behind her eyes. She tried to scream, but her voice cracked like dry wood. Her throat burned. Her body trembled, not from cold, but from a presence that clung to her like old smoke. Footsteps echoed behind her. Low, barefoot, wet. "Disobedience," Chabik said. His voice no longer velvet, but coarse, like a man speaking through broken glass. He turned. He stood before her, wrapped in white, but it no longer glowed. His golden smile had cracked, revealing teeth too sharp, too long. "You looked," he said. Nanya stumbled backward. "What are you?" Chabik knelt. His eyes, black as forgotten wells, met hers. "I am your husband," he whispered. "You said yes. The gold is yours. So now you stay." From that night onward the house changed. Mirrors fogged even without breath. Food appeared but had no taste. Clocks ticked but never moved past 11:59. Outside, the wind howled like mourning women, and birds dropped dead on the window sills. Nanya stopped sending messages to the village. The messengers never returned. Her reflection no longer followed her actions. It lagged, smirked, blinked slowly. Sometimes she would see herself smiling, even when she wept. And Chabik, he no longer hid his truth. At night, he walked the hallways in silence, humming a lullaby that didn't belong to this world. His face changed subtly with each day. Less man, more myth. His shadow moved before he did. She begged him to let her go. He would only say, "You wore the red wrapper. You ate from the silver plate. You chose this." Back in Odugbo, Mama Eid grew restless. Her daughter's letters had stopped. Rumors were thick in the market. They said Chabik's cart was seen again, but this time empty. One night, Mama Eid lit a clay lamp and prayed by her husband's grave. As she wept, she fell asleep. And in her dream, she saw a forest made of mirrors. Each tree reflected her, but aged, grieving, broken. At the center of the forest stood Nanya, dressed in red, her eyes hollow. Behind her was a man with a golden smile, licking blood from his lips. Mama Eid woke up screaming. She knew then that her daughter had not married a man, but something else. Desperate, Mama Eid sought out old Aya, the blind herbalist. Old Aya welcomed her with silence, then placed her hands on Mama Eid's face and said, "She opened the third door, didn't she?" Mama Eid's lips quivered. "How do you know?" Old Aya sniffed the air. "Because the wind smells like regret." She pulled out an old clay gourd tied with black thread and sprinkled cowrie shells into a calabash. They scattered, then formed the shape of an eye and a serpent. "Your daughter married Nkata, a mirror spirit. Born in shadows, feeds on choices. He offered gold, but takes reflection. And now he feeds on her soul. Can she be saved?" Old Aya paused. "Yes, but not without sacrifice." Meanwhile, in the compound, Nanya had become a shell of herself. She barely ate. Her reflection now moved independently. One night, she followed the sound of weeping. It wasn't her own. It led her to a hidden staircase behind the main wall. At the bottom, she found a chamber of mirrors. Each mirror held a woman, crying, screaming, begging. But they weren't just any women, they were her. Versions of herself from different lives, trapped forever. One version wore a crown and bled from the eyes. Another held a baby that turned to ash. One floated, drowning in silence. They all whispered the same thing. "Midnight comes. Choose or be chosen." As Nanya backed away, one mirror cracked. From the shards, Chabik's voice echoed. "Your regret feeds me well, wife. But I hunger still." Old Aya prepared Mama Eid for the journey. She handed her a charm made from 7 crow feathers, a gourd of truth water, and a bone flute carved from an old prophet's finger. "You must reach her before the 12th moon cries. Play the flute when the mirrors whisper." Mama Eid left at dusk, following the forest spirits. The sky darkened unnaturally fast. Trees leaned away from her path. Owls screamed without reason. Back in the compound, Nanya began to notice time shifting. Her fingers grew pale. Her voice sounded distant in her ears. She was fading. Chabik smiled gently that evening. "You will make a beautiful mirror." At exactly midnight, he lit black candles and the walls pulsed like veins. He placed a silver ring on her hand. The mirrors chanted, "Bride of shadow, bride of glass." And just before he kissed her forehead, the bone flute played. The sound was hollow, ancient, defiant. Chabik recoiled. The flames died instantly. Nanya collapsed to the floor, eyes wide in shock. From the hallway, Mama Eid emerged, her wrapper soaked in sweat and mud, eyes burning with fury. She pointed the charm at Chabik. "You are not of our land. You will not take my child." Chabik stepped back. His form shifted, taller now, arms longer than they should be. His teeth were knives, his voice 1,000 whispers. "She chose me." Mama Eid poured the truth water across the floor. The house screamed. Mirrors cracked. The walls bled black sap. "Your wealth is stolen," she shouted. "Your form is borrowed. Let her go." Nanya, weak but conscious, crawled to the altar and picked up the gourd. She looked into Chabik's eyes, no longer golden, now endless pits, and said, "I want my reflection back." She smashed the gourd at her feet. When Nanya smashed the gourd of truth water, the entire compound shuddered as if struck by a thunderbolt from the gods. The black sap flowing down the walls sizzled, burning into ash. The mirror spirits in the basement screeched, their faces contorting in fear and rage. Their cries echoed like trapped winds in a calabash. Chabik stumbled back. His golden smile flickered, then cracked. Piece by piece it crumbled, revealing rotting gums and teeth sharpened like arrowheads. His skin pulsed, stretched, and began peeling like old bark, revealing something older, something ancient beneath. A long hiss escaped his throat as he crouched like a beast. His shadow split into 3, each one trying to separate and strike. Mama Eid stood firm, the bone flute clenched in one hand, and a rosary of dried kola nuts in the other. She began chanting, an old incantation her grandmother taught her for banishing wandering spirits. Agbana, keeper of mirrors, take back this one born of lies. Let flesh meet fire, and regret devour its sire. The shadows lunged. The bone flute screamed again, no breath blown into it, yet its sound blasted like a horn from the underworld. The shadows shattered against an invisible barrier around Mama Eid. One writhed on the floor, dissolving into black mist. Nanya lay limp but aware. The spirit of the house hadn't finished with her. Her reflection, trapped within a nearby cracked mirror, began to speak. You must come inside. To end him. The mirror rippled. With a deep breath, Nanya stepped into the glass. The air changed. Now she stood in a world of shifting mirrors, a space between life and spirit. Here time bent. Gravity pulsed. Each step echoed 100 times. Faces flashed across surfaces, versions of herself that never made the same choice, who never said yes to gold. One version whispered, "There is one mirror he cannot escape, the one that knows his true name." "Where is it?" Nanya asked. The answer came not in words, but in a sudden twist of the space around her. She fell into the root mirror. She landed in a dark, circular chamber with a single towering mirror at its center. No frame, no cracks. Its surface didn't reflect her. It reflected a twisted version of Chibik. Not the man she married, but a creature born of human greed and spiritual corruption. A faceless crawler that took from widows, lured daughters, and devoured mothers in their dreams. This mirror pulsed with heat. "Breathe." A voice boomed from within it. "Say his name," and the gold smile dies. "But I don't know it." Behind her, another reflection appeared. Her late father, eyes gentle. He whispered, "You were named Nanya for a reason. Use it." The letters of her name, swirled in the mirror. She closed her eyes and whispered the name she hadn't dared speak. Enyenmu. The forgotten child of the cracked sky. The mirror screamed. Chibik's illusion was breaking. Back in the physical realm, Chibik howled as his form unraveled. His once immaculate white wrapper caught fire. Gold coins spilled from his mouth, burning as they touched the ground. His wealth turned to crawling insects. "You think you can banish me," he roared. "I am choice. I am greed. I am promise." Mama E didn't flinch. She poured red earth around his writhing body, forming a circle. Her voice rose. "Your name is known. Your mask is broken. You are bound by choice, and we have chosen to be free." Suddenly, Nanya burst from the mirror behind him, her body glowing with mirror light. She drove her mother's rosary into his back. He screamed, not in pain but in betrayal. "You were mine." "No," Nanya said coldly. "I was never yours. I only married your lie." The flames engulfed him. He howled, cursed, and vanished into smoke, sucked back into the mirror realm, imprisoned in the root mirror that now stood cracked in the hallway. For the first time since she arrived, dawn broke over the compound. The sky bled golden orange, not the cursed gold of Chibik, but the warm gold of the ancestors. The compound crumbled behind them as Nanya and Mama Eid walked away, no longer trapped, no longer silent. Where the house once stood, only a single mirror remained, half buried in ash. Its surface now reflected nothing. As they passed the village border, the wind whispered one last time. Regret visited at midnight, but left at sunrise. It had been 6 market weeks since Nanya and Mama Eid returned to Izayama. The town buzzed with rumors, stories of fire, crumbling compounds, and a bride who survived death by mirror. Some called it madness, others called it witchcraft. But the elders, they said nothing. Silence from the old ones is never a good sign. Nanya lived quietly. She seldom left Mama Eid's hut, and never after sundown. But at night, the wind spoke her name. It didn't howl, didn't scream. It whispered, "Nanya." She would wake drenched in sweat, her bed surrounded by shards of glass, not from a mirror in the room but from nowhere. The root mirror had shattered, but pieces of it had escaped. On the 7th week, A stranger arrived in Izayama. He walked with a limp and wore a patched brown cloak. He pulled a creaky cart filled with small handheld mirrors. He sang as he moved from compound to compound. Reflection for peace, reflection for truth. See what's lost and return to youth. No one dared speak to him. No one except the village's youngest daughter Yugama, a curious 12-year-old known for talking too much. She took one of his mirrors home and showed it to her mother. That night, her laughter turned to crying and then, silence. When the neighbors came to check, Yugama and her mother were gone. Their mirrors remained, smeared with what looked like palm oil but smelled like blood. Nanya heard the story and froze. "He's trying to rebuild," Mama Eid whispered. "He's coming back through fragments." Determined to end the curse, Nanya sought the help of Dibian Woke, the blind priest of Izayama. He was old as river stones and smelled of burning leaves. He touched Nanya's face, then the soles of her feet. "You stepped into the spirit plane without payment. Now it's asking for toll." "What toll?" Nanya asked. "You returned from the mirror, but something followed you. You didn't just banish Chibik. You broke the boundary. The root mirror was a gate. And gates, once open, call to things far worse." He handed her a gourd carved with spider legs and a stone inside shaped like an eye. "This will find the pieces." Armed with the gourd and Mama Eid's chants, Nanya began tracking down the scattered shards. Each mirror fragment hummed when near the gourd, glowing faintly like the dying embers of a fire. She found one buried beneath a girl's mattress, another hidden in a shrine used for fertility prayers. The worst was inside a child's toy, a doll that blinked even when untouched. As each piece was collected, the gourd darkened, absorbing their essence. But the gourd grew heavier, pulling on her spirit. "You're carrying echoes," Mama Eid warned. "Each shard holds a scream. And when you gather too many, the screams may speak louder than your thoughts." But Nanya had no choice. The mirror seller was moving quickly. And Yugama wasn't the only missing child now. The village buried its dead in silence, but for the first time in 100 years, a mirror was found in a grave. The body of Okonkwo the hunter had been unearthed by wild dogs. Clutched in his cold hand was a compact mirror, its glass cracked yet somehow, still reflecting. Nanya knew what this meant. Chibik had found a way to bind his spirit to the dead. He was no longer just feeding on regret, he was building a body from it. She smashed the mirror. A thick black mist oozed out and flew toward the hills beyond the river. The mirror seller was nesting there. And something else waited in that darkness. Legend said that Olage Hills were once home to the first twin-born spirits, banished by the gods for stealing fire meant for the ancestors. No one ventured there after sunset. No one except Nanya. As she reached the base of the hill, the gourd she carried began to moan, not from outside but from within. The stone eye glowed, and suddenly, she saw flashes of memories not her own. Chibik as a boy, weeping in a burning hut. A woman's hand offering him gold, then yanking it away. A mirror breaking in slow motion, blood instead of glass. "He was made from pain," Nanya whispered. "A vessel born of betrayal." Mama Eid joined her at the summit. Her skin gleamed with protective oils, and she bore the final ingredient, a gourd of ancestor tears, a sacred liquid only elders could carry. Together, they climbed into the mouth of the Cave of Mirrors. Inside the cave, mirrors lined every wall, hundreds of them, glowing faintly with silver-blue light. Each one reflected a different version of Nanya. One married to a kind farmer. One who never left the village. One who died in childbirth. In the center of the cave sat the mirror seller. But now his form was shifting. Chibik, no longer charming, no longer beautiful, but monstrous and cracked. "You broke me, Nanya. So now, I'll break you into every version you could have been." He lunged, but Mama Eid flung the ancestor tears across the mirrors. The cave began to collapse. Nanya screamed and hurled the gourd of shards at Chibik's feet. It burst, releasing the trapped screams of all who had suffered. "Let them speak for me." The wails of women, children, and betrayed souls rose into a storm. The mirrors shattered one by one, until only the mirror behind Chibik remained, the very first one that had given him form. Nanya walked up to it and whispered, "I forgive myself." The mirror shivered, then exploded. Chibik howled in pain and was sucked inward, his body folding like cloth, vanishing into nothing. The cave fell silent. The wind no longer whispered her name. At sunrise, Nanya stood by the riverbank with Mama Eid. The gourd was empty. The stone eye had crumbled. For the first time in months, she saw her reflection in the water, and it was only her. No flickers, no shadows, no whispers. The village returned to peace. The mirror seller was never seen again. But in Izayama's shrine, a new proverb was etched into the wall. "The wealth you seek from strangers may come dressed in mirrors, but the price is always paid in silence." The moon over Izayama was a bloated eye, refusing to blink. A month had passed since the collapse of the mirror cave. The winds had calmed. The children laughed again. Women danced under the full moon without whispering prayers beneath their breath. But Nanya didn't sleep, not because she was afraid, but because she still heard it. That voice. "You forgave yourself. But I never did." It started when Nanya went to the river to cleanse her head with morning dew, as instructed by Mama Eid. She knelt, cupped the water, then froze. There, lying beneath the surface, glittering unnaturally bright, was the golden wedding ring Chibik had given her. She had never retrieved it. She had left it in his house, along with her fear. Yet here it was, glimmering beside her reflection. She reached for it, and just as her fingers grazed the ring, her reflection smiled back. But Nanya wasn't smiling. She stumbled backward, heart pounding. The ring floated to the surface, but her reflection remained smiling for several seconds longer before vanishing in a ripple. That night, Nanya dreamt of mirrors buried in sand, and a wedding veil soaked in blood. The elders of Izayama gathered in Mama Eid's hut. A storm was coming, they said, not of rain but of remembrance. Mama Eid, her voice low and uncertain for the first time in years, said, "When a spirit is shattered, pieces may die. But if one fragment remembers who they were, they can rebuild from memory. And memory is strongest in love." "But I didn't love him," Nanya insisted. "He loved the idea of you," Mama Eid replied. "And that was enough." That night, every mirror in Izayama cracked, even ones buried in trunks or sealed in shrines. One after another, across the village, glass splintered and bled a single word: bride. On the eve of the second full moon, Nanya disappeared. She left without speaking, her feet moving on their own. Mama Eid followed the footprints through the whispering bush, across the silent hills, until she came to an abandoned wedding compound in ruins. There, in the center of the courtyard, stood Nanya, dressed in a white veil, motionless. Around her, broken chairs, melted candles, and ghostly guests, men and women with blurred faces, sat in silence. At the altar stood Chibik, not as the gold-toothed man she once married, but as a groom stitched together from mirrors. Each panel on his face reflected a different version of himself. "One night, Nanya," he whispered. "Just one night, and I'll be whole again. A true wedding. No lies. No regrets." She didn't speak. She simply nodded. Mama Eid stepped forward to stop the union, but a force, cold and invisible, pushed her to the ground. "You can't break a marriage that was never finished," the spirit said. As midnight struck, the wedding began. Each vow was a riddle, each blessing a curse. Chibik spoke of fire and forgetting. Nanya, trapped in trance, repeated after him. But just before the final kiss, Mama Eid called out, "She may wear the veil, but she is no bride." The ground trembled. Nanya's veil lifted on its own, and her eyes turned to the altar. No longer hollow. They were awake. Where? I am not yours, she said. You married a shadow of me. And I woke up. She removed the ring, held it to her lips, and whispered something no one else could hear. The mirrors that formed Shabik's body shivered. One by one they began to fall away, clattering to the ground like bones. You promised wealth, she said, but gave me chains. With one final breath, she broke the ring in two. From the broken ring, light erupted. Not golden but blue, the color of the spirit world when truth is spoken. The wedding guests began to vanish, one by one. The broken altar caught flame. Not earthly fire, but one that burned without heat, consuming lies and memory. Shabik screamed. You loved what I gave you. You said yes. I said yes to a stranger, Nanya said. But I didn't say yes to the devil behind the mirror. The last mirror, Shabik's chest shattered. From inside, a voice whispered. I only wanted someone to choose me. And then silence. At sunrise, Nanya awoke on the riverbank, her veil soaked, her hands empty. The ruins of the wedding compound were gone. Mama Eid sat beside her, humming softly, placing warm stones on her chest and belly. The spirit has passed. The last shard is gone. But Mama Eid looked older now, her eyes dull, her voice tired. We traded years for your freedom, she said. The ancestors don't give without asking. Years later, Izayama would carve Nanya's story into a sacred stone at the heart of the village. Visitors would come and read. She married a stranger for wealth, and found regret at midnight. But she rose at dawn with truth in her hands. Nanya never married again. She became the new storykeeper of Izayama, sharing tales with the young ones, especially about mirrors, wishes, and the dangers of seeking wealth from unknown hands. One day, a traveler came with golden eyes and a strange ring. Nanya smiled, served him palm wine and said, Before you ask for my hand, look in the water. If the reflection blinks when you don't, keep walking. He did. And the river stayed calm.